Hi, I'm Julia and you're watching Code Kitchen. Today we'll be going over how to run your app. At the top of Android Studio, you should see a whole bunch of icons. This green triangle is the play button and this bug with a smaller triangle on it is the debug button. Playing the app will run it ignoring logging and breakpoints. Logs are written into the code to notify the developer when the app has reached a certain point. Breakpoints are used to temporarily pause the app at a certain point. I almost always use the debug button instead of the play button, so let's go ahead and click on that now. This screen should pop up. Pick whichever device you want to run it on. When you click OK, Android Studio will start to run the app. You'll see a lot of stuff happen that looks pretty crazy, and we're going to ignore all of it. You can see this bar at the bottom of the screen that tells your app is starting to build. If you click on it, you can see a bigger loading screen. Eventually, it'll finish. I sped this part up, but you can see it actually took my laptop 2.5 minutes instead of the 5 seconds shown here. While we're running the app, we want to be in the Debug tab down at the bottom left. If you click on the gray edge of the page, a pink button with a check mark will appear. This is called a breakpoint. When the app is run in debug mode, the program will brake like a car brakes at a stoplight. You can see if we run it again, it'll stop here and become highlighted when it hits. This arrow allows you to step over the line. This arrow steps into the line. I have never used this pink arrow, and this arrow lets you step out of a function. OnCreate is a function. You can tell because the functions all have parentheses. Sometimes there are what we call parameters inside the parentheses, but there doesn't always have to be. If we step into the function, we are brought to the function itself. If you don't recognize this code as something that you wrote, then you want to click this rightmost button to back out of the function. That will bring you back to where we were before. Now this line is also calling a function. This time, instead of stepping into the function, we want to step over it since it's not a function that we wrote. This will bring you to the next line. Ignore what this line actually says. We'll cover it in the Tasty Taxes tutorial in a bit. The cool thing about debug mode is that when you are paused, you can still type and see what the values of things are. This minus sign deletes a value and the plus adds one. I already wrote one here earlier, so let's go ahead and delete that. Now we can look at another value. If you're following along in the Tasty Taxes tutorial, you know that this text view has the text Tasty Taxes, or whatever you decided to put in there for you. What this line does is it gets the text from the view and turns it into a string so we can display it. Just hit enter when you're done typing and you can see the result. In a big project, sometimes you may have to scroll away from the line and you might end up forgetting where that line is. Instead of running the app again to find it, you can save yourself some time by clicking this button. It'll bring you to the line that you were last interacting with. This icon is your Breakpoint Manager. It will show you all your breakpoints and what line they are on. This pink dot with the slash through it will skip all your breakpoints. Notice that when you click it, this pink breakpoint has turned gray to signify that it will be skipped. Let's make a couple more breakpoints and open up this Breakpoint Manager. You'll see the code on the bottom right and a list of the breakpoints on the top left. Unchecking a breakpoint will skip that breakpoint, even though it's green and not gray. You can also click a line to remove it with the minus icon or click the top line and get rid of all of them. The red square stops the app, and this green triangle, not to be confused with the green triangle at the very top, will continue your app until it either finishes or hits another breakpoint. Know anyone who would find this useful? Share this video with them so they can sharpen their skills and cook up some apps.